Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us here today for Biodiesel Magazine's 2016 Editorial Outlook webinar, sponsored by the National Advanced Biofuels Conference and Expo. My name is Ron Cutterba. I'm the editor of Biodiesel Magazine, and with me today is our Sales and Marketing Director, John Nelson. On our program, we intend to move swiftly through our agenda this afternoon. In a few moments, John is going to run through biodieselmagazine.com's website statistics and demographics, along with a breakdown of our print audience, followed by Biodiesel Magazine's social networking, our bi-weekly Biodiesel World News e-newsletter, Biodiesel Magazine's popular webinar series, and our 2016 Biodiesel Industry Directory. Following that, I'll provide some brief commentary on our editorial sections of the print magazine, and then we'll talk quickly about our editorial themes for the 2016 print edition, along with bonus distribution for the annual publication. Finally, at the end of our broadcast, we have an exclusive advertising discount for attendees of this webinar. Before I pass it over to John, I certainly would like to say a few words about our publication and the U.S. biodiesel market. Biodiesel Magazine, as many of you know, has been in publication for well over a decade now. In fact, we're going to be going into our 13th year of publication in 2016. We've been there through the highs and the lows of this industry. We're certainly passionate about covering biodiesel development, news, business dealings, and important issues like policy, technology, feedstock, fuel quality, distribution, international trade, and much more. I think it's important to note here 2 points that make us stand out from our competition. My first point is, unlike many other news outlets covering biofuels, Biodiesel Magazine is dedicated exclusively to covering biodiesel and renewable diesel. That's something you're not going to find elsewhere. The second point, and this is important, is that we will never publish an article, and I will never put my name on a story that's based on secondhand information like many other biofuel outlets do. How many times have you, as a reader, seen a news article from one of our competitors that says, this article from the Daily Gazette says so-and-so is building a 50 million gallon a year plant, and then they proceed to rely on that reporter's story to publish its own news? Another example, biofuel outlet with one of its staff writers listed as the author will publish a blurb and hyperlinks to the source, which when you click on the link, you find out that the source is a local newspaper and the story is written by one of its reporters. We don't do that. It's journalism ethics 101. You always get firsthand primary source information, whether it's interviews with sources directly or press releases from companies. If we can't get firsthand information for a story, we don't publish it. It's as simple as that. So I encourage you to keep that in mind as you make your advertising decisions moving forward. It's something I'm passionate about. I don't put my name on an article that is based on an article another reporter wrote. It's just bad journalism. To move on to our biodiesel market outlook, the past couple of years have been tough for the U.S. biodiesel industry, operating without any real federal renewable fuel standard targets, and the unpredictable nature of the federal tax credit has been, for lack of a better word, debilitating. It's certainly not produced an environment to attract long-term investment. We do, however, expect this to change very soon. With respect to renewable fuel standards, the unknowns are soon going to be over, as EPA will be releasing its final RFS rule for 2014 to 2017 for biodiesel next month. The proposal released this past spring included a modest trajectory of growth, and we certainly expect the final rule to be no less than that proposal, and with any luck, it's going to be even greater. But what we're looking at is at least 1.8 billion gallons for biodiesel in the standard for 2016 and 1.9 billion gallons for 2017. This alone will certainly help stabilize the industry. Another important piece of the puzzle is the federal dollar per gallon tax credit. In July, we published a story that the Senate Finance Committee passed a tax extenders package that not only included a 2-year extension of the biodiesel tax credit, but also revised it from a blender's to a producer's credit. this makes it through the entire Congress and passed by the or signed by the President. This will be the first time in history a multi-year extension was passed. Not to mention the first time it would be a producer's credit rather than a blend credit. Experts say traders are also banking on the renewal of the tax credit too. About a month ago, the University of Illinois economist Scott Irwin, in his analysis of RIN, biodiesel, and feedstock and diesel prices, he indicated that the decline in RIN prices relative to the blend margin indicate that traders speculate that the tax credit will indeed be reinstated. So for a minute, imagine the potential of this industry operating under a predictable federal renewable fuel standard mandate and a multi-year production tax credit. And there's more good news. The local market in the nation, I'm talking about California, just recently reaffirmed biodiesel's position as the lowest carbon fuel on the planet in its revised low carbon fuel standard. Also, the signing of a piece of legislation called AB 1032 amends the tax code by adding biodiesel to the law, allowing for refunds on non-taxable fuel, which will also boost biodiesel blending in California. It's estimated that before this problem was corrected, it may have prevented biodiesel from being blended into about 15 to 30% of the diesel volume in the state. So things are on the move in California. Like I said, that's the largest fuel market in the nation. Also, we've got the heating oil market, which is warming up to biodiesel nicely. I just published a blog article a week ago about several developments in Europe and the United States. You can find it on the homepage of biodieselmagazine.com under the Fame Forum blog. While 2016 is shaping up to be a great year for biodiesel, it's not without its challenges. For one, EPA's alternative feedstock tracking plan for Argentine biodiesel producers to participate in the renewable fuel standard is a real concern for the U.S. industry. And Europe renewing its anti-dumping and anti-subsidy tariffs on U.S. biodiesel continues to block a major export market for U.S. biodiesel, despite the fact that Europe is free to ship its biodiesel to the U.S., and it certainly does. So that's our 2016 market outlook in brief. I appreciate your attention. At this time, I want to turn it over to John Nelson, our Sales and Marketing Director. John?
All right, thanks, Ron. And I'm going to start my portion of the presentation on Biodiesel Magazine's digital offering, and I'm excited to do so because Biodiesel Magazine's web presence continues to be extremely strong. And through the use of our ongoing original stories being posted to the website, search engine optimization strategies, new content constantly being posted from our maps, blogs, and the biodiesel industry directory, we have the traffic numbers you see on the slide. And I want to note that this is all based off of Google Analytics from July 2014 to July 2015. So this is coming straight out of Google Analytics. And if you have any questions regarding them, we can definitely help you with that. So we're currently seeing 46,000 page views or impressions per month on biodieselmagazine.com and more than 26,000 visits per month. So the big question that comes up is, what does that mean to you as an advertiser? Great, these numbers are great. But what does that mean? It means when you purchase online advertising on biodieselmagazine.com, more people are viewing your ads, and because of that, you're going to have more people going to your websites. They're going to click on the ad, go to your website, and ultimately the goal is to help you increase sales. And a couple other points on there is advertising starts as low as $150 per month. Again, these are web exclusive news features. So as Ron just alluded to in the beginning, these are all original stories that he's posting or they're coming off some sort of press release that he's vetting out. So it's all original news that's going on there, and you can search online. You can search via keyword and by categories, and we also have an interactive biodiesel plant map on biodieselmagazine.com. So I definitely urge you to go on and take a look at that. So a quick look at some of the demographics, and we have visitors on our website from around the globe, as we're showing here. 32% of the visitors to our site are from outside the U.S. So, and obviously our top visitors are from the United States, as this is stating, but we also have our next highest country is for India. We have Canada, UK, and Malaysia following. So if you're looking for, looking to reach both the U.S. biodiesel audience and the global biodiesel audience, biodieselmagazine.com and online advertising is a great option for you. So let's talk a little bit about the print issue. So we have this slide that we're looking at right now is talking about where the print issue is going, and so as you can see, we have readers in 41 countries. The largest category of our readership base consists of producers, representing 20% of our circulation. And the graph also shows the next type of companies who are subscribers. They're equipment and service providers, consultants, engineers, technology providers, academics, officials in the government and military, and so on. And I really want to put emphasis on what I'm about to say, and it's by purchasing advertising in Biodiesel Magazine, you can be assured that you are reaching the right people in the biodiesel industry. So to support that statement further, we also mail a copy of Biodiesel Magazine to every biodiesel plant in the U.S., in addition to sending a copy to all attendees of the National Biodiesel Conference. And we'll dive a little deeper into the bonus distribution later on. But I would like to note that our audience of 13,000 comes from third-party research we've done on our magazines. On average, when surveying our readers, we see 2.6 readers per issue. And so your advertisement will be seen by 13,000 just from the print magazine alone. And again, that's not including all the bonus distribution that will be attached to this issue. So again, we'll dive into some of that a little bit later on. So social networks, and you kind of go, well, why are you showing me social networks? But what we want to showcase here, or let you make sure you're aware of, is we make a point of connecting with people on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and other social media sites. So we really build up our Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Those are the accounts that, or the social media sites that we really emphasize in making sure Biodiesel Magazine has a brand and has pages and has a Twitter following and so on. So why is that important to you as the advertiser? It's important to you because we post every story that Ron and his team write. We post them on our social media sites, and we see consistently, we see people clicking on those stories, which in turn drive people back to biodieselmagazine.com. And if you have an online advertisement on biodieselmagazine.com, then people are going to see your ad, click on it, and so on. So we want to make sure you understand that we have a very, we have a strong strategy on the social media side that's designed to help you, the advertiser. So we're going to look at the e-newsletter here on this slide, and it goes out bi-weekly. And what we want to talk about here is there is advertising options that are available, and from a price standpoint, this is a great bang for your buck. They start at $149 to $395 and so on. There are 20,000 subscribers on this newsletter, and so these are people that have, they want Biodiesel Magazine and they want their news on biodiesel, and we've had this list now for years. So it has been vetted out. If people are on this list, they want to be there. So I would definitely encourage people to take a look at going on to, looking at advertising options on Biodiesel Magazine. And one of the things that is kind of nice with Biodiesel Magazine's e-newsletter is when an ad, when a potential advertiser, or when we post an ad, the email goes out. Well, if someone clicks on that ad that's on that particular e-newsletter, we can help you as the advertiser. We can send you a list of the URLs the people that have clicked on that particular ad. So we can kind of identify those companies. We can't give you the email. That's not something we give out, but we can help you identify the companies that have clicked on that ad. So again, another added benefit by choosing to advertise on Biodiesel World News e-newsletter. So we're going to talk a little bit about Biodiesel Magazine's webinar series. And sponsoring a Biodiesel Magazine webinar is an outstanding lead generation option for companies that are looking to engage a specific audience for 90 minutes at a time. Attendance for these webinars has been strong because these events are content-driven, and the industry experts speaking provide valuable information to all logging in. So as a sponsor of a webinar, you'll have your logo with URL listed on all the emails that are sent out promoting the webinar, which we say roughly 150,000. The Biodiesel Magazine website registration page, you'll have your logo there. You'll be on online advertisements, the weekly e-newsletter ads, and our on-demand webinar section on biodieselmagazine.com. Now, on-demand means it's going to, so when a webinar is finished, we actually post that webinar onto biodieselmagazine.com in our on-demand section. And so anyone who registers after the webinar is finished will notify you as the advertiser or the sponsor of a webinar, and we'll notify you that someone has registered, and you can have that lead as well. So, and that's a nice segue to kind of run into the next slide, which really talks about our webinar packages. And we have two webinar packages that have worked out really well. We have our Diamond Webinar Sponsorship Package, and that includes all registrant contact data, including emails. And again, we get typically 300 to 500 registrants is what we're doing. You have contact information, you know, and ranking their interest on the webinar. You also have a speaking opportunity on the webinar. So if you're looking to say, hey, I've got something I want to talk about, I'd like to do a webinar and get it out in front of Biodiesel Magazine's audience, talk to us about it. We can help you. You'll have top placement of your logo on the website, on all marketing. You'll have your logo displayed. You also get a 2-minute commercial during the webinar. We'll have a dedicated slide. The webinar is free to all attendees, and again, you'll have those ongoing lead those leads generated from on-demand, and that's going to be ongoing. And so I'm showing you some examples here of some online ads that have been produced in the past with sponsors that we've had. And then I want to know that a gold package gets you a lot of the exposure that you're looking for. The only thing that it would be minus is you know, getting the leads, getting the contacts. But again, if you're looking for lead generation, a webinar package is the way to go. And we can help design the topics, help design the speakers, and you can have some input as well. You can see that we've got a couple here. This one that happened on September 1st, more recently, we had Avalara and Amerigreen Energy. Avalara was the diamond sponsor. Amerigreen was the gold webinar sponsor. So you can kind of see how that plays out. Now on the other one, we had Method Energies, and they were their own diamond sponsorship. And so I want to read something that they put together. It was really put together on a press release that they sent out after their webinar. And I'm going to take a moment to read this because I felt it really makes the case on why a webinar would be a strong platform for you if you're looking to advertise and generate leads in the biodiesel industry. So I'm going to begin reading right now. Method Energies International, a renewable energy company that offers an array of products and services to biodiesel fuel producers, announced today that 459 people registered for the webinar hosted by Biodiesel Magazine this past August 28th. The webinar was mostly attended by industry professionals such as biodiesel and ethanol producers. Methods used the webinar to introduce what it believes is a quote-unquote game changer to the biodiesel industry relating to the way oils are pre-treated before making biodiesel. Methods is very pleased with the number of attendees, but more importantly, with the several dozens of requests for additional information it received following the webinar. Calls have been coming in from all over the world, including from a number of billion-dollar companies that are interested in its catalyst and related technology. Methys is currently working with several potential clients to help them evaluate and validate the catalyst and technology, and is confident that many of them will move forward toward implementation. Nicholas Ng, president of Methys, said, "We knew we had a game-changing technology, but we didn't expect the magnitude of the response, and from some of the biggest companies in not only the biodiesel industry, but the ethanol industry as well. We are getting calls and emails on a daily basis and are engaged with some very big players with very large volumes of production. Looking at the U.S. alone, we could be adding significantly to our bottom line from equipment and catalyst sales over the next few years. Considering that most of that is reoccurring revenues, there is no need to say more as to why we are very, very excited." So again, I know it got a little long-winded, but I want to make sure that you understood what this did for Methys Energies, what it could do for your company. And so I really urge you to contact your account manager and take a look at webinars. And Ron is great to work with, and we can design a webinar that fits you. So our next slide is about the biodiesel directory, industry directory. And it's for the 2016 edition. Now, we have our print deadline coming up for this relatively quickly, but we want to make sure that you're aware that anyone can go on, and every company receives one free listing, both on the digital platform, so on our online, and that can be posted at any time. And then we have our deadline coming up for our print directory, and you can post a free listing on there as well. And I would definitely urge you to go post on the print and the digital. Additional listings are $40 each, and then your logo you can list on for $60 each. And that can be found at directory.biodieselmagazine.com. Now, the big thing with the directory this year is that it is going to be printed with Biodiesel Magazine. So it's going to be attached to the back side of Biodiesel, the print issue of Biodiesel Magazine. So what does that mean? Specifically to you, that really says, hey, if I buy an ad in Biodiesel Magazine this year, in the print issue, this magazine is going to have a 12-month shelf life. So, you know, and we're going to talk about our bonus distribution, but not only will it be around because people will keep this industry directory around for 12 months until the next one comes out, but it's going to go to every bonus distribution that we have attached with us, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But, you know, if you're looking for an ad, if you're looking for a place to spend your dollar with a print ad, I really, really urge you to take a look at Biodiesel Magazine, and and one of the strongest things about it is it's going to be attached to the biodiesel industry directory, and it'll be there for 12 months. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Ron, and he's going to go into how inside Biodiesel Magazine.
Hey, thanks, John. Nice overview of a lot of our platforms that we have for Biodiesel Magazine, biodieselmagazine.com, webinars, and e-newsletters. I want to take a minute to talk about our annual print edition. We work hard to bring information that's important to the industry. We work passionately. I've been doing this for 11 years now. We work passionately to provide our readers in-depth feature articles, feature-length contribution pieces from experts in the industry, legal and talking point columns. What we're looking at here is, on this particular slide, is the contents page from our 2015 edition of Biodiesel Magazine. Our feature articles for that issue largely focused on technology development. As we see here, our contribution article came from a 10 million gallon per year biodiesel producer based in Connecticut, Greenleaf Biofuels, and it was focused on improving process efficiencies. Our legal perspective column for that issue focused on patenting strategies in the biodiesel industry, and our talking point column focused on one particular type of enzymatic production, immobilized enzymatic production. Also, every issue we feature a 4-page section from the U.S. Industries Trade Organization. That's, of course, the National Biodiesel Board. And as John mentioned, we'll be having the issue circulated at the National Biodiesel Conference in conference bags. If we can go to the next slide, please. I'm gonna move briefly over our editorial coverage for 2016. These articles are in the planning stages right now as we speak, and we're going to be going to print with that issue in late December. We're going to be bringing you feature articles that cover the gamut of important and relevant topics for the coming year, and it's going to be kind of sort of themed around a market outlook. Of course, you can't do a market outlook without some sort of a review to give it depth and perspective. But these feature articles are going to include stories on markets. We're talking RIN, feedstock, biodiesel, and diesel markets, policy, including, like I mentioned before, the final renewable fuel standard rule that's expected to come out shortly before press time. That's going to be coming out next month. And in addition to international developments, use articles, and technical contributions from experts in the industry. So if we can move to the next slide. That's our 30,000-foot overview of what we're going to be including in our 2016 print edition. I want to once again thank you for your attention. I'm going to turn it back over to John, who's going to talk about bonus distribution and some other items before we close out today.
All right, thanks, Ron. So again, we alluded to the bonus distribution that this print issue will get. So again, you're going to have the print issue, and you're going to have on the back side, you're going to have the industry directory. And the bonus distribution is going to go to be in the conference bags at the National Biodiesel Conference, and you can see the number of attendees there. It's going to be at the Commodity Classic, which is really focused on farmers, put on by National Corn Growers, Sorghum, and so on. And we also have the American Oil Chemists Society annual meeting. We have the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop and Expo. We have the Collective Biodiesel Conference, and it's always a hit there when we send the magazine. So hopefully some of you will be at that event and see it there as well. We'll have it at the Algae Biomass Summit. We'll have it at the Canadian Renewable Fuels Summit. Our friends up in Canada are willing to send it out to their attendees. And then we also will have it at the National Advanced Biofuels Conference and Expo. And next year we're going to be looking at having that connected with the Fuel Ethanol Workshop as well. So we may see those numbers increase. So, that bonus distribution, again, whenever we go to an event with a magazine, the number one thing that goes is the directory. So the fact that the directory is attached to this issue is almost a slam dunk in terms of where to put your advertising, your print dollars in the biodiesel industry. So it's going to be picked up. It's going to have a shelf life of 12 months. It's going to be at all these events. So I would definitely urge you to take a look at doing some print advertising this year in Biodiesel Magazine. Again, we want to thank today's sponsor, the National Advanced Biofuels Conference and Expo, and we urge you to go to take a look at the website, advancedbiofuelsconference.com, and register to attend. That'll be October 26th through the 28th in Omaha, and we've got a great lineup of speakers. We've got Todd Becker. He's the President, Chief Executive Officer and Director at Green Plains. We've got an outstanding general session panel. And that it's called the Beltway Update, Examining the Policy Foundation of the Advanced Biofuels Industry. And you're going to see Michael McAdams, the President of Advanced Biofuels Association, speaking. Many of you will know Joe Job or recognize his name. He's the CEO of the National Biodiesel Board. He'll be speaking on that panel. And then Monty Shaw, who's the Executive Director of the Iowa Renewable Fuels Association. So we also have some great tours attached to that. You could join the tour. I think there's a few spots open. I think it looks like it's going to sell out, but you could tour ICM's pilot facility for that show. So some other upcoming events that are taking place are we have Ethanol Producer Magazine's Editorial Outlook next week on the 20th, and on the 21st we have Biomass Magazine's Editorial Outlook happening. We also have the National Advanced Biofuels Conference and Expo, as I just mentioned, and then we have Landfill Methane Capture for Cash, Compliance, and Clean Air. And that's a Biomass Magazine webinar series, webinar that's taking place November 10th, and that is free as well. And as promised, we mentioned there's a discount for all those who have stayed on the line and listened to our webinar. So exclusive to all attendees on this webinar, you can save 20% on one full-page print advertisement. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. This offer does expire December 9th, which is the insertion deadline for this issue. So definitely take advantage of that. Contact your representative. And we want to thank you for attending today's webinar, and if you have any questions regarding Biodiesel Magazine, please reach out to Ron or myself. Or if you have questions regarding advertising, please contact Chip, Howard, or Jeff, one of your BBI account managers. And with that, have a wonderful day. Good. Okay.
Yeah, I found it great to me.
Call Ron.
Yeah. You know his number? 7?